Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News for this Friday, September 28. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. Tropical storm Kirk has been wreaking havoc on several Caribbean countries, causing flooding and disruption to telecommunication services. There have been reports of heavy showers and thunderstorms in St. Lucia, Dominica, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as Barbados. However, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, SEDEMA, says it has not received any adverse reports with regards to life and property. Head of SEDEMA, Ronald Jackson, says the agency continues to monitor the situation and will provide support if necessary.
I anticipate that there may be some infrastructure scoring in many of the islands, including Barbados, which would have had impact from the extensive showers over the last 12 hours, going to probably 15 hours, but nothing significant per se. But there will be scouring of some of the roadways and some damage recorded, I'm sure, based on some of the images we've seen.
And the National Emergency Management Organization has urged St. Lucians to stay indoors until the all clear is given. First responders are currently trying to clear the roads and remove live wires that may be on the roads. Assessment crews are also investigating, and due to the inclement weather, classes have been cancelled at the Cave Hill campus of the University of the West Indies. And warning advisories have been discontinued for the Windward Islands, even as they continue to be affected by weather associated with Tropical Storm Kirk. Kirk is expected to weaken to a tropical depression tonight. Kirk's center or its remnants are forecast to move across the eastern and central Caribbean Sea over the next 2 days. Heavy rains from the storm are expected to affect Martinique, Dominica, and eastern Puerto Rico. In other news, even though the closing times for businesses in St. Catherine North have been extended, the mayor of Spanish Town is reminding some business operators that they still need permission to carry out certain activities. Details in this report.
It's a relief for several businesses in St. Catherine North, which is now under a state of public emergency. They can now open for longer hours. For example, clubs and restaurants can now open from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. and gas stations from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m.
We note that the minister has obliged us in changing the hours. Reviewing the hours has made it possible for more businesses and the economy in Spanish Town and St. Catherine to be more viable. We see where the club and the fast foods have been given a latitude there, 6 a.m. to 2 a.m., which is good. They have been one of those that were suffering in the initial stages.
Since the whole thing changed up with the time, I'm going to get a little more extra time to open, although some people that come and complain same way, but that's how it is. We have to just go and accept it until things change more for the better.
Mayor of Spanish Town, Norman Scott, is however reminding some categories of businesses that they still need a permission to carry out their operations.
As it relates to entertainment in this neck of the wood, I want to make a public appeal to persons who are involved in promotion of entertainment, that whilst the hours have been increased, they must have permission both from the municipal corporation and from the police department.
Mayor Scott added that if business operators do not stick to the new operating hours, they may be prosecuted. Prince Moore, TVJ News.
The Cannabis Licensing Authority CLA is reassuring farmers and investors that adjustments are being made so that Jamaica can fully benefit from the ganja industry. Details from TVJ's Ashane Masters.
The assurance came after several farmers raised concerns on day one of the Canex Business Conference and Expo in Montego Bay on Thursday.
California is planting millions of acres Colorado is planting a lot too. Their problem, Colorado, 1 crop a year. We can plant 3, California only 2. So, and they don't have the labor. We have the labor and the expertise too, but the expertise is not expert enough. They have to be trained how to plant it to get the exact property that you want out of the plant.
While making that point, Chairman of Alaska-affiliated group Lascelles Chin commended the Cannabis Licensing Authority for its efforts. But he argues that more needs to be done. We sought answers from Director of the CLA, Delano Sivright.
There's a banking challenge, that's a major problem. Also, a number of the investors and persons in the space have not really thought through how they're going to build up their businesses and a number of other issues. So it's coming along, and I think we've made a lot of progress.
And with over 500 applications and 22 licenses granted so far, local farmers may be wondering what to expect.
Nobody knows what's going to happen. What we do know is that it will move in the direction of liberalization. And once it continues to liberalize globally, anybody who gets in the business here in Jamaica at the early stages will be very successful.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Approximately $1 million has been allocated to the St. Mary Municipal Corporation to clean drains in the capital, Port Maria, and prevent flooding. The funds were provided by the National Works Agency, NWA.
We are looking at 3 drains in Port Maria. There is one in the Pagy area going across into the Islington area, and the Works Agency, based on discussions with myself, recommendations were made for these.
Member of Parliament for Central St. Mary, Dr. Maurice Guy, is therefore calling on residents to properly dispose their garbage.
The drains get clogged up, so they can't flow, the water can't flow properly. But the major flooding we have been having in Port Maria is due to the Pagy River on the east and the Outram River on the western side of Port Maria. And when those are flooded, they can't empty into the sea as rapidly as most rivers do because they're basically a little below sea level. So water comes into the town from both sides.
The management of the University Hospital of the West Indies has responded strongly to the controversy surrounding a 14-month-old infant patient and her parents. O'Shane Masters reports.
Chairman of the hospital, James Moss Solomon, has sought to address some of the public allegations. His comments follow a court order yesterday which gives the hospital permission to treat the infant and conduct all tests necessary as it sees fit. The parents had leveled several accusations against the hospital, arguing that they were prevented from accessing the child's medical records. Mr. Moss Solomon denies that medical records were being withheld.
We have not denied anything to do with a second opinion. What was in the first application is totally untrue, but I'll say, let me leave that alone. We provided, everybody had the medical records, and we provided that. The problem is that there is one specialist capable of dealing with this at the Bustamante Children's Hospital, and that doctor is on extended leave. And Bustamante said they really couldn't treat this child without that specialist being here. So we provided the information to get the second opinion immediately, and we assisted in getting that second opinion from the doctor that they had specified.
Mr. Moss Solomon has also given a further explanation of the hospital's stance.
The father attempted to abuse and prevent from treating is a senior resident who in a number of months will be a consultant. And so we are trying everything that we can do in the face of, irrational behavior, but we are trying to save this child's life as much as we can.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And it's time now for our Fact or Fiction feature. We ask, is this fact or fiction? The Emancipation Park officially opened in May 2000, and you can find out the answer at the end of the sports segment of the newscast. In news overseas, a powerful and rare storm is set to hit Europe this weekend. The hybrid storm, often called a Medicaid, has features similar to hurricanes and typhoons. Details from the CNN.
A very powerful and rare storm is set to impact areas of the eastern Mediterranean as we head into the weekend. This storm, dubbed a Medicaid because of its proximity to the Mediterranean Sea and its hurricane-like features, this storm is expected to produce very heavy rainfall and some very strong winds to areas like Greece as well as Turkey. This system already produced flash flooding across portions of Libya and Tunisia, but now that it's going to enter areas of the Mediterranean, it's going to encounter much warmer temperatures over that ocean. In fact, the sea is now looking at areas in the 70s Fahrenheit and even low 20s centigrade, allowing that storm to be able to intensify at least a little bit before it crosses over portions of Greece and Turkey. The main concern is going to be the strong gusty winds, especially for coastal regions of southeastern Greece and especially Crete, where you could have wind gusts in excess of 100 kilometers per hour, likely to have wind gusts in excess of 75 to 80 kilometers per hour for the western coastal regions of Turkey. As the system begins to cross over both of those countries, it is also expected to dump tremendous amounts of rain. The good news is the system is expected to push out rather quickly. This will limit the time that it can dump that rain and also limit the widespread flooding potential. With that said, we do still expect a lot of these areas, including Crete and southeastern portions of Greece, to pick up in excess of 100 to 150 millimeters of rain. That's about 4 to 6 inches of rain total.
Still overseas, according to Indonesia's disaster management agency, at least 1 person died and 10 injured after a series of earthquakes on Friday.
7.5 is a very large quake. I mean, we're not up to what Indonesia saw in 2004, but really, there are only about 15 quakes like this, equal to this per year across the entire globe. And Palu City really was in the area here. Palu City is kind of on an area where it's kind of a shaky ground anyway. It's on an alluvial fan where some of the dirt and some of the stones from up above have gone down and people have built homes on that. That kind of turns into a bowl of jello at times. So yes, about 73,000 felt very, very strong shaking by about 600,000 and severe shaking by about 20,000 people from this earthquake. We do know that there was a tsunami warning put out, reduced to an alert, but we have seen some social media pictures of what looks like a valid tsunami that came in either toward Donggala or somewhere near Palu City itself. Estimated fatalities somewhere between 1 and 100. I know that's a very large number. That's not even including what may have happened with the tsunami then. It wasn't under really.
Right, back to me. And in sports, the West Indies women's team will be looking to go 2-0 up in their 5-match T20 series against South Africa when they meet on Friday at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Trinidad. The match starts at 6 p.m. Jamaica time. More from the CMC.
The Windies women were giving it their all during their training session at the Brian Lara Stadium with Game 2 against South Africa on Friday, having drawn the 50-over series 1-1 and currently leading the 5-game T20 series 1-0. Wicketkeeper batter Marissa Aguilera says the ladies from the Caribbean are upbeat for the rest of the series.
The spirits are really high. I must say we are really confident going into this last 4 games. We have been training really hard as a team, and I think once you train hard, you're playing, becomes really easier. And I think right now we have been really training hard. We have been doing well as a team. The spirit is there. Everybody, we are fully together. We are one unit. I think that is something that we have been working on, and the time spent in Antigua, I think that has really improved us as a team.
The Windies made 124 for 6 in their opening T20 against South Africa before restricting the Proteas to 107 for 7, which resulted in a 17-run win for the ladies in maroon. As such, Aguilera says the Windies need to get their act together with the Willow.
I think definitely being more consistent in the batting department, because 1 minute a player will have a high score, then, they will falter in the next game. But I think it's all about being consistent. So that's an area that we have been looking at, trying to be consistent in our batting departments and even in all areas of our game as well.
The defending T20 World Cup champions are upbeat about winning the series. Having said that, Aguilera has utmost respect for the South Africans.
The South Africans, they're really determined. They have some good players. Very unfortunate that some of them are not coming up in match. Well, it's fortunate for us, but unfortunate for them. But I guess, that's how it goes in the cricket department. But after all, they are a really good squad. They have been playing really good cricket. They did extremely well in the 50 overs World Cup. And, coming here to the West Indies, they know that it would have been difficult for them. But I think that they are adapting to the conditions pretty quickly.
The Windies, like the other nations, are preparing for the T20 World Cup to be held in the Caribbean in November.
And finally this afternoon, the answer to our fact or fiction feature. And we asked, is this fact or fiction? The Emancipation Park officially opened in May 2000, and it's fiction. It officially opened on July 22, 2002. The park was created to be a symbol of our freedom to hope, to excel, and to be. Its lush 7-acre landscape symbolizes the legendary beauty of Jamaica. The park proudly stands as a landmark in Kingston and an excellent metaphor of the resilience and strength of the Jamaican people. And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Do remember to join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.
Did you know the legal cannabis industry